Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Celine, your MC for today. Just a little bit background of myself. I'm the 6-year lymphoma survivor. I diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma in February 2015 and completed my treatment in NUH in June 2015. Ever since then, I'm on the road of my survivorship with the help and support from my family, friends, and lymphoma support group. I hope that we will be able to connect more people who are going through the same journey as I was before through the event today. We are here to let you know that cancer journey is tough, but you are not alone. Welcome to the World Lymphoma Day Forum 2021. This year, the theme is Partnering Lymphoma Survivors in Living Well, and our event is held in conjunction with World Lymphoma Day, which is on 15 September every year. Today's webinar will share more on how cancer patients can live well with lymphoma. You will find out how you can better cope with brain fog, and there will be tips on diet as well as how to keep an active lifestyle. For those who are joining us for the first time, NCIS is a national specialist center under the National University Health System, NUHS. It is the only public cancer center in Singapore that treats both pediatric and adult cancer patients through its facility located in the National University Hospital, in short, NUH. NCIS also provides cancer services through partners like the Ng General Hospital, Alexandra Hospital, Jurong Medical Center, and Tan Tock Seng Hospital, and extend services to patients at home and in the community. Our comprehensive and personalized services includes screening, diagnostic treatment, and supportive care. We have an exciting lineup of speakers today. And before we commence, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsor, Roche and Avi, for their generous support for this event. Before we begin, kindly note the following. Your microphone has been muted by default. Please type your question inside the Q&A box, and our specialists will answer them live during the Q&A segment. Lastly, we would greatly appreciate if you can take 2 to 3 minutes of your time to help fill out the feedback form at the end of this webinar. Thank you. Without further ado, let us welcome Dr. Michelle Boone, who is the senior consultant, to give the opening speech. Dr. Michelle, please.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to give the opening speech, and welcome to World Lymphoma Day Forum 2021. So I think there are a huge series of exciting talks and activities lined up for today, and I won't take up too much of your time. I just wanted to say I'm really honored to join today and to participate in the events and to hear the exciting talks. So just a quick overview. So lymphoma is a cancer of the lymphatic system, and basically when the white cells within this germ-fighting network turns cancerous, it will lead to swelling of the lymph nodes and lymphoma. And there are 2 main types of lymphoma, Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So if you look at the Singapore Cancer Registry annual report, you can see that lymphoma constitutes the top 10 cancers for both male and females over the years. And therefore, there is a huge need for support, for patients who need the support in this area. If you look at the epidemiology of lymphoma, you can see that there are a wide range of patients over a wide range of age groups. For example, Hodgkin's lymphoma tends to affect younger patients. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma tends to affect older patients. And throughout these whole age groups, you have patients, you have parents, their caregivers, they have various different needs. And that's why a support group is so important to help to support not just the patients, but their caregivers through this whole journey. So World Lymphoma Day Awareness Day is held on September 15 every year, and it's a day dedicated to raising public awareness of both Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma to let people know about symptom recognition, early diagnosis, and treatment. And I thought, it would be on this so-called 7th anniversary, it would be good to look at our journey over the last last 7 years. So we started in 2014 when we gave our first lymphoma talk in a very small auditorium in our hospital. And at that time, it was developed because there was a need. Patients really wanted to understand a little bit more about lymphoma. And since then, the Singapore Lymphoma Support Group was developed in 2015 But in 2017, that was when more activities were actually held, and it's been a source of support for patients and their caregivers over the years. And this is a national initiative to try to help lymphoma patients and their family members in Singapore. And over the years, I've seen how the Singapore Lymphoma Group has spread their wings. They've done so much over the many years, and even the COVID situation has not stopped their activities. If anything, it has allowed them to come up with more innovative ways to connect with patients and their relatives. And I think the journey has been exciting. The journey will continue. So in preparation for my talk today, I went online, I looked at the Oxford Dictionary, and people talk about a support group as a group of people with common experiences or concerns, and who provide each other with encouragement, comfort, and advice. And I think there is no question in my mind that the Singapore Lymphoma Support Group has done that and very much more. Be it from their Facebook activities, from their WhatsApp group, I think definitely everybody is coming together to help each other. And I think that's so comforting and happy. And it's a really exciting thing. From 2018, when we first started some of our talks in a larger area involving multiple speakers. 2019, when again was held to increase public awareness. And even in 2020, despite the COVID epidemic, it hasn't stopped people from going on to organize these events, the Lymphoma Support Group events online, nearly monthly, very exciting topics, a wide range of topics, not just about medical aspects, but also about the physical therapy, yoga, healthy. I'm sure most of you have joined one or more of these events. We've gone a long, long way. And, I feel like this is a very nice picture. It shows the development of the Singapore Lymphoma Group from a very small group that started many, many years ago to now where it is. And I also like this picture because if you look, there's that blue sky behind, and it just tells you that the sky is the limit. We can go so much more, so much further, and do so much more for all the patients. And so my wishes for the Singapore Lymphoma Group today, we hope that there will be continued activities, there will be continued support for new patients. We want to increase awareness amongst the medical community and lead to more referrals so that more patients are aware and their family members are aware of the support group. And hopefully we will continue to grow from strength to strength. There will be more new ventures. I hope there will be more activities to raise awareness in Singapore of lymphoma, hopefully more social events, and possibly even fundraising events to help to improve the studies in this area. And so I think without further ado, we'll just welcome everybody again. And like to thank, I think everybody, you all know who you are, all the patients, their relatives, the people who have over the years done so much to continue to make this group continue to function, to be able to help our patients. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Michelle, for a very informative and encouraging opening speech. Now, let us welcome Ms. Om Jie Sing, who is a senior occupational therapist who has been working with cancer patients for the past 5 years at NUH. She is currently leading the occupational therapy services in cancer care and has a special interest in the quality life in survivorship and palliative care. Jie Sing will share with you more on coping with the brain fog through lymphoma treatments. Jie Sing, please.
Okay, hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Celine, for the introduction. And thank you, Ansis, for the invitation today to talk about coping with brain fog through and after lymphoma treatment. I think as we look into the variability of cancer treatments and the survivability of cancers, we also place more emphasis on the side effects of the disease and treatment to see how we can manage and cope with some of these symptoms to optimize the quality of life in survivorship. One of the side effects that is commonly neglected is brain fog, which also means cognitive changes. And today we are going to zoom in on what it is and what are some of the strategies to manage it. So what is brain fog? Before I go into it, can I get you to just reflect on your day-to-day life and answer these questions? I can't find my keys. I struggle to recall the name of a friend. I just read a text message and forgot what it was all about. I've gone to answer the phone and forgot that I have something on the stove. I can't deal with looking at my bills and work anymore. So I'm sure all of us will have instances where we find difficulties in these areas, but for people with brain fog, they experience it a lot more. So the onset can be sudden or gradual, and it may come and go. And you may be wondering, if the treatments were not targeting the brain, why was the brain affected? So brain fog is commonly known as a sense of cognitive loss, as if the brain is in a fog, and sometimes it is otherwise known as chemo brain. However, there are many reasons why brain fog happens, and it is unlikely that chemotherapy is the only cause of these problems. And later on, I'll be talking more about the causes of these brain fog. So some of the common symptoms include the following: difficulty concentrating, having poorer memory, for example, forgetting names, dates, and phone numbers when you usually wouldn't, having difficulties multitasking, spending increased amount of time doing routine tasks, having difficulties with judgment and reasoning, and also being unusually disorganized. And according to various researchers, the prevalence of cancer-related brain fog ranges from 15 to 95% of patients, depending on the study design, such as the patient population, time of assessments, and also the type of assessments that were used. So very often, the effects are subtle and can go unnoticed during recovery, because generally during recovery, you are disengaged from many of your usual occupations and activities. And also these deficits may not necessarily come out on standardized cognitive assessments, but it can be very distressing. So ways it can affect one's life include your work, your school, if you're a caregiver to your family member, and overall it can affect your self-esteem and your relationship with others. So very often, the most common question that people will have is, how long does this last? And will this ever go away? The short answer is, we are not exactly too sure as well, because of the variability of causes and how patients respond to these changes. A majority of patients report symptoms fade or resolve over time, but there are still a small number of patients that still experience long-term cognitive impairments. Nevertheless, the most important thing is that it is dependent on how you deal with or cope with it. And later in my slides, I'm going to introduce some strategies that you can employ in your day-to-day life. Now, bringing it back to lymphoma, here are some common treatments and how it causes brain fog. So for the lymphoma treatment itself, we have our chemotherapy, such as the rituximab, doxorubicin, cyclophosphamide with neurotoxic potential. We also have our radiotherapy, targeted therapy, and bone marrow transplant, which usually involves a period of conditioning chemotherapy, then transplant, and then a period of recovery, which can take weeks to months. So all of the above lymphoma treatments subject the body through heightened stress and anxiety, both physical and emotional. And during these processes, your body goes through great changes to direct all its resources into recovery and repair, such that the blood flow to the thinking areas are reduced. And besides lymphoma treatment, some of the other reasons patients may experience brain fog may be because of emotional distress from the diagnosis, which can sometimes lead to sleep issues, infections that hit you, especially when your immune system is low, anemia, fatigue, especially with multiple sessions of chemo and radiotherapy, as well as other types of medications for pain and anxiety management, which can make people feel foggy. So it can be difficult to delineate the exact contribution of each of these factors in the clinical practice. And while the doctors work on resolving some of the reversible causes, such as infection and anemia, a big part lies in how you cope and manage with brain fog as well. So now I'm going to move on into strategies to manage brain fog. So basically for brain fog, we tend to gear towards non-pharmacological intervention, which conventionally involves cognitive rehabilitation. And over time, research has been ongoing about its efficacy in brain fog. And so according to the Oncology Nursing Society Putting Evidence into Practice panel, the cognitive training research has reached a level of evidence to imply that cognitive rehab is likely to be effective. And over here, cognitive rehabilitation refers to any intervention aimed at improving, maintaining, or restoring mental function through the repeated and structured practice of tasks which pose an inherent problem or mental challenge. And so I've categorized the following strategies into two main categories, and they are lifestyle modifications and cognitive stimulating activities. Lifestyle modifications generally mean ways to help you adapt and get through your day-to-day life for the things that you need to do, while cognitive stimulating activities refer to specific strategies that can help you work on improving your cognitive capacity. Both are important for recovery and returning to function. So for lifestyle modifications, some general strategies include being very mindful of how you feel, whether you feel energetic or very fatigued that day or at that point of time, making sure you stay focused and pay attention to the task at hand, reduce distractions, reduce multitasking, which means you only do one thing at a time, make sure you slow down and think properly while working on a task. So for example, if you have to go through your bills, make sure you're not feeling too tired or lethargic at that point of time. Find a quiet and conducive space without the radio or television or people talking to you at the background. Put your phone away and slowly go through the task. And with regards to tasks which require you to remember certain information, get others to repeat the information or repeat the information to yourself until it registers. So for example, I'm going to the kitchen to take my medication, boil the water, then put the clothes into the washing machine. So I'm going to the kitchen to take my medication, boil the water, then put the clothes into the washing machine. So medication, boil the water, clothes. To make it stick even better, visualize the information while repeating the sentence. So think about where your medications are placed, how you're going to get to the kettle, and then to the washing machine. One other strategy is personalizing the information. For example, my next doctor's appointment is actually 2 days before my birthday, or 1 month before Christmas, or something like that. So some other strategies that you can employ in your day-to-day life include the use of external aids, such as writing down notes and putting it at places where you can easily refer to. Use calendars. It can be personal ones or central ones where your loved ones can refer to as well. Keep a notebook or diary with you at all times. Start a new page every day and put the date at the top. Set alarms for your routine or use timers when cooking. You may even explore useful mobile phone apps such as the Health Hub, which has all your medical appointments and information. Use pillboxes to keep track of your medications and also organize your environment by labeling cupboards and drawers with words or pictures that describe what is inside. So after appreciating some of the general strategies and how they can be used, the first step to integrate them into your daily routine is to list down the things that you need to do and evaluate the needs of these daily activities. So think about the demands on your attention, whether it is high or low. An example of high demand activity would be cooking a meal, while a low demand activity would be something like folding clothes. So for high demand activities such as cooking, reduce distractors, do one thing at a time, choose the best time for yourself to complete the task. If you feel mentally fatigued easily, split up the task. You may prepare the ingredients in the morning when you feel best, and then cook them in the afternoon instead of doing them all together at once. As for low demand activities such as folding clothes, which may not require as much mental effort, some distractors are okay. For example, the radio or the TV may be on. You may stop to reply a text or even complete the task when you're not feeling your best. So after we kind of have an overview of the things that we need to do, we plan our daily routine accordingly. So print out or write out the schedule so you can look and refer to it easily. The more you plan, the less you tend to forget. Utilize memory strategies wherever required. So set timers, alarms, etc. Organize your surroundings, such as keeping your things at specific places. Following routines allow your brain to focus on what you are doing, which puts less stress on you. Lastly, for lifestyle modifications, make sure you get sufficient rest overnight and also rest breaks throughout the day. Practice some relaxation to avoid getting stressed out, and also make sure you maintain a healthy diet and exercise regularly. Next, I'm going to talk about cognitive stimulating activities, which are basically exercises for the brain. The more you stimulate it, the better you'll be able to work through brain fog. So these activities can be things that you do to take care of yourself and your home, such as managing the finances, looking at the accounts or bills, doing grocery shopping, planning meals, or following a new recipe. It can be engaging in your hobbies such as arts and craft or gardening, of which both require some level of planning and problem solving. You may also play card games, board games, mobile phone games, puzzles, or logic games such as Sudoku, which challenges your thinking, response time, and also your attention. There are some other resources online as well. For example, this particular website has this NBAC test. And besides being a test, it is actually a kind of game as well, whereby it tests you on the image that you just saw. So you can see how your scores improve with time and repeated trials. And you may also increase the challenge by increasing this number to test your memory. There are phone games and applications as well, such as Elevate, Peak, Lumosity, etc. And for these apps, most of them will require you to do a quick assessment and survey at the beginning for the system to have an understanding of your current cognitive function. Thereafter, they will provide suggestions and exercises on what you can work on. So some of these apps have a free trial period, after which you may need to pay for subscription. But if you don't, then you'll be limited to how much you can use the app a day, or you may only access certain exercises and not others. If mobile phone apps appeal to you most, feel free to try them out or explore your app or Play Store as well, as there are always new and interesting ones on the platform. Lastly, I'm just going to include a small section on returning to work and work adjustments, as I believe that upon completion of treatment and into survivorship, this may be what you are most concerned with. So work is definitely good for you, but make sure it is of the right challenge and right fit for you. And work adjustments over here are necessary to successfully ease you back into the working life. So some of the potential work adjustments to consider and discuss with your employer include allowing time off to attend medical appointments and treatment, altering the hours of work, for example, considering starting off with shorter days or reduced work week, having the option of working from home, adjusting the kind of work. So for example, if you used to be in a managerial role, managing many people and multiple projects, you may consider starting off with just focusing on a couple of projects first. And also considering a transition back to work program. And this might include gradually returning to work at a reduced capacity that slowly increases over time. Most importantly, maintain an open communication with your manager, and don't think that upon a cancer diagnosis, you are no longer suitable for work, because your past experiences count and you can always contribute in some way or another. So in summary, think of your brain as a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it is. And as mentioned, cognitive changes can be very subtle and can go undetected unless you return to your usual activities. So challenge yourself and exercise it. It is an everyday work. Create a routine and be involved in day-to-day activities. Change the routine as you go. Keep practicing, and it takes trial and error to see what works for you. If you have tried and does not achieve much successes, or is not sure how to go about starting, seek professional help. You can speak to your doctor for a referral to occupational therapy services. And with that, I have come to the end of my presentation. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Dietitian, for the very useful sharing and management strategy. As a survivor, I can totally relate to that. Sometimes it takes me forever to remember someone's name, to be honest. Okay, we will now begin the Q&A session with Dietitian. So please type in your question in the Q&A box as seen on the Zoom control panel, and Dietitian will answer your questions. Yeah, so encourage everyone to use this opportunity to ask the questions. Okay, everyone, I know that there is no questions for anyone yet, so we will wait for another maybe 1 minute to see that if anyone has any question to ask. But it's okay if you don't feel comfortable to ask it now. You can always, email to us so we can, can reply your, your questions in the, wherever that is after these sections. Maybe I have a question for Jie. So Jie, can I check with you, right? Well, for the brain fog, right, will it be something actually will get worse, when we are aging?
Okay, so basically, over here, the brain fog, we usually refer it more to cancer-related treatments or the cancer itself. But yes, definitely, I think in some of the researchers, it has been found that through some experiments, the brain fog actually can be related to age-related degenerative changes as well. So it's kind of like a compound of many factors together. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so thanks for all the management strategy that actually you have just now. Yeah, just now I take the picture of some app. It sounds very interesting, and I will start to download and play with it, because sometimes I also feel that my memory is not so good. Sometimes I want to find for someone names on the contact book, the phone book, then I can't really remember the names at all. I need to go through the whole list. Yeah.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of practice. And sometimes, like some of my patients tell me they don't go back to 100%, and then they just adopt strategies to try and get them to adapt and cope with what they need to do on a daily basis. And I think that's the most important part.
Yes, live with it, right? Okay, sure. Yeah, so I think there is still no questions asked. So in this case, then we will be, move on to the next session. Thank you, Jie, once again for your time and very insightful sharing. Yeah. Okay, personally, I feel that it's very benefit me a lot. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Celine. Thank you, everyone. May everyone have a very good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, let's welcome Dr. Verena Tan, who is an assistant professor at the Singapore Institute of Technology. Dr. Verena Tan is an experienced dietitian with more than 50 years of diverse and well-rounded experience spanning clinical nutrition, academia, research, and corporate work. She is currently an assistant professor and program lead of the Bachelor of Science Honours Dietetics and Nutrition program at the Singapore Institute of Technology. She is an accredited dietitian of Singapore and also the chair of the membership subcommittee of the Singapore Nutrition and Dietetics Association. She has a keen interest in cancer nutrition, focusing on diet intervention in cancer-associated malnutrition and muscle loss. Dr. Verena will share with you more tips on eating well for the cancer survival. Dr. Verena, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the very nice introduction. And although I can't see everyone right now, I'm just staring at my computer screen. Good morning, everyone, and good morning for taking time off your Saturday morning to join us today in the World Lymphoma Day Forum. And for today, I'm just going to share some information and some nuggets on how do you eat well for the cancer survivor. And specifically today, we were just going to focus a little bit more on lymphoma patients. All right, so feel free to get your questions come in, and I will try my best to answer them as much as I can. Let's kickstart today's session. Oops, okay, next slide. Right. So what I'm going to cover, I have very short 20 minutes. So this will be my grand attempt to try and cover as much useful information for all of you out there. So first, let's talk about why do we need to look after your diet, how important nutrition is, especially for a cancer patient. Next, I would just touch a bit on how do you eat healthily after lymphoma. What are some of the good foods that you should be having in your diet? Thirdly, I'm going to just share a bit on food safety tips, especially for some of you who may be asked by your doctor to be more careful about eating foods and preparing foods. And lastly, I want to debunk some very common cancer myths so that at the end of this session, you are more well equipped and more knowledgeable on what is right and what is really not the truth out there on the internet. Okay? So just a small disclaimer, it's that I know every cancer patient that I see, their journey is different. They undergo different treatments and they have different side effects, even for the same type of cancer. If you are not sure whether a particular food is suitable for you when you are undergoing active cancer treatment, please check with a doctor or get your doctor to refer to a dietitian. Let's start off with the importance of good nutrition. Now, why is nutrition important? Now, I'm a dietitian by training, so I will always want my patient to eat well, whether or not cancer, no cancer, treatment, or a survivor. Simply because the evidence have clearly shown that majority of people with cancer have signs and symptoms of malnutrition. And the scary thing is that those with malnutrition, with cancer malnutrition, may die from its associated complications on top of the malnutrition, because malnutrition can cause a lot of problems if it's not managed properly. So eating well has always been important for me, for all the cancer patients that I see. And a lot of the good thing is that nutritional changes can be made, and the improvement you can see improvements over time. So why am I always focusing on nutrition? Because eating well has been shown to make a cancer patient feel better, have more energy and strength, maintain the weight and the body's store of nutrients, being able to tolerate your cancer treatment side effects, can lead to a lower risk of infection and help you recover and heal faster. Right? Now, I need to sell a bit of Goyo, we call that in Chinese, which is my own medicine, which is my own profession. What will a dietitian do? Or why do you need to see a dietitian? Now, we know that for cancer patients undergoing chemotherapy, it may lead to side effects like nausea and diarrhea. If you have such side effects, it is really harder for you to eat well and stay well nourished. So a lot of times, nutritional needs are not a blanket formula. It depends on your age, the medical history that you have, what is the current diagnosis, and your stage of treatment. What we do as a dietitian is that we hope to optimize the nutritional status of all the cancer patients that we see. And what differentiates us from, I would say, people on the internet is that dietitians are well qualified to give you evidence-based advice so that you can eat well and maintain your health. So what do you do when you see, what does a dietitian do when you see a dietitian? The dietitian will make a full nutritional assessment of your condition, and then he or she will then provide you with a tailored, personalized nutrition and diet advice suitable for your condition and your needs. Let's move on. How do we eat healthily after lymphoma? Now, eating healthily after cancer is really not difficult. However, I just wanted to point out that if there are any finger foods out there that states that it can protect cancer, prevent cancer, or even cure cancer, be very wary about it. Because currently, there is no such single food or even superfood can protect against cancer by itself. However, it is shown that having a balanced, varied, and nutrient-dense diet together with an active lifestyle is probably your best bet to fight cancer. Now, nutrient-dense would mean that foods that are high in nutrients. I guess the next question you'll be asking, so what are the foods that are high in nutrients, right? So I have given you a list. You could see first, starting off with healthy proteins and fats. So these are what I call nutrient-dense foods. For example, lean meat like poultry, eggs, tofu. Plant proteins for vegetarians. Cold water fish like salmon and sardine and mackerel, which are more common in our Asian diet. Nuts, for example, almond, cashews, Brazil nuts, and macadamia. The grains and the seeds. Now, go for whole grains such as oats, barley, brown rice, whole grain bread, wholemeal pasta. Seeds like chia seeds and flax seeds are also very good source of protein and good fats. Now we have the wholesome vitamins and minerals, which most of you are familiar with. All the colorful fruits ranging from berries, kiwis, oranges, guava, avocado are all rich in vitamins and minerals. Now vegetables specifically, I like to go for as much colors as possible. So red capsicum, the broccoli, spinach, tomatoes, cauliflower, and asparagus. How do I cook them? Now, preferred cooking methods, and I'm saying this for cancer survivors, are steaming, boiling, stir frying. Now, try to limit or restrict deep frying, grilling, or barbecuing simply because some of the products of deep frying and high temperature are cancer-causing agents. So, eating healthy meals, just to recap, keeps your body strong, maintain your energy levels, maintain your weight, and support your immune system. Now, that being said, I do understand that there is also a condition called neutropenia, particularly if cancer patients are undergoing chemotherapy. For such patients, your doctors will have advised you to avoid products that contain live bacteria. And these include probiotics, live cultured yogurts and yogurt drinks, unpasteurized dairy products, some blue cheeses, as well as the mold ripened cheeses. Then let's carry on to food safety. I mentioned earlier, during lymphoma treatments, your body may be more susceptible to foodborne illnesses, and we call them food poisoning in a layman's term, or even infection. I mentioned earlier that neutropenia is a condition whereby a decrease in your white blood cells due to the chemo or radiation therapy of your cancer treatment that can affect your body in fighting off infection from food poisoning. Now, foodborne illness is usually caused by eating foods contaminated with harmful bacteria, parasite, or viruses. It could be due to foods not cooked properly, foods not handled properly, or just eating expired food. Okay. Now, just some quick food safety tips. I'm sure all of you are aware now with COVID, we just wash our hands frequently. So more so if you are a cancer survivor, and make sure you wipe down any surfaces you use for cooking before you start cooking. Wash all your produce even before peeling them to ensure that you wash off all the bacteria and pesticides. Avoid eating raw stuff like raw meat, eggs, any raw sprouts, as well as sushi, sashimi. Use separate plates for raw meat before cooking. Don't put all the different raw meat on the same plate. Avoid unpasteurized milk, so meaning milk that just come directly from the cow or the goat. Avoid soft cheeses as well as some of the packet juices if they are unpasteurized. After grocery shopping, remember, just go straight home, put your food into the fridge. Don't linger around, and now we're encouraged not to go linger. So this is to keep the refrigerator or the chilled food as fresh as possible. And always check your food for spoilage. And also if they are expired, please throw them away. Moving on quickly to some cancer myths that are very commonly circulated on the internet. Will sugar make my lymphoma worse? If I have an audience in front of me, or if I can see everyone, I will ask for a poll. But I would say that this answer will probably swing in the side that yes, sugar makes my lymphoma worse, because there are a lot of untruths on the internet. Some of you might worry, or people on the internet may write that sugar feeds on cancer cells, not only lymphoma. Based on current scientific evidence, there is no evidence to show that eating sugar makes lymphoma or any type of cancer grow. There are also no research to show that if you don't eat sugar, your lymphoma will go away. Now, what we know, and it's very clear in the literature, is that eating a lot of sugar or sugar-sweetened foods brings about other health risks. For example, being obese, and being obese is linked to the development of other types of cancer. Next, is it okay to follow a vegetarian, vegan, or plant-based diet now that I am a cancer survivor, or if I want to prevent cancer? Now, plant foods, typically they are healthy because they contain phytochemicals that help protect our body cells from damage that can lead to cancer. And vegetarian and vegan sources of protein includes pulses, nuts, and soy products. However, so the question, is it okay? Seems like it's okay, right? Now, what it's not a plant-based diet? I'm sure all of you will be familiar with the food that I've shown. This is a typical vegetarian food from our Asian context. The deep fried gluten, the deep fried spring roll, everything is coated with gluten and fried with a lot of sauces. This is not what we call a plant-based diet or a healthy vegetarian diet. If you're going for a plant-based diet, look for such food. I've taken this photo from our Singapore cafes as well. And these are what are available, and these are wholesome and rich in vitamins and minerals. But just beware that for anyone who is embarking on a plant-based or a vegan vegetarian diet, ensure that you include adequate iron, you take adequate vitamin B12 as well as calcium intake. Because plant-based diet, vegetarian diet have been known to be lacking in these three nutrients. If you're not sure how to incorporate foods containing iron, B12, and calcium, do check with your doctor or get your doctor to refer to a dietitian. Should I eat organic foods? Okay, the answer that I've always been asked, and my personal take is I don't, right? Now, people who buy organic foods are concerned that there are traces of pesticides, artificial herbicides that are left on the food that cannot be washed clean. Research has shown that yes, there are some positive health benefits with eating organic foods, but it could be due to the fact that it is linked to the lifestyle of people who buy organic foods. Meaning that people who buy and eat organic foods tend to have a healthier lifestyle, they eat more fruits and vegetables, they exercise, and therefore they are healthier. So in summary for organic food, it's that currently no good quality evidence to support that eating organic food can prevent your cancer or to stop lymphoma from recurring. Okay? And I know organic foods are much more expensive than our local produce. So my recommendation is that buy the local produce. Nutritionally, they are almost the same. And just make sure you wash them clean. So finally, in summary, I have talked enough. People with cancer are at a high risk of nutritional depletion resulting in malnutrition. Now, a role of a dietitian is important to support cancer survivors eat well and to maintain their health. So eating a balanced, varied, and nutrient-dense diet is key to prevent cancer. And please do note that not all information that you read online are backed by rigorous science. Anyone can write anything and post it on the internet. If in doubt or you want to embark on something new, check with a health professional, be it your oncologist, your general practitioner, or even a dietitian. All right, with that, I thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Verena. Thanks for the very insightful sharings from you that made us understand more about food. Okay, last time we just eat it, but we don't really know that what we eat. So thanks so much for all the very insightful information. And we will now begin the Q&A session with Dr. Verena. Of course, I need to repeat again. Please type in your question in the Q&A box as seen on the Zoom control panel, and Dr. Verena will answer your questions. of course, right now I already gathered a few of the questions. Okay, let me share the first question actually from our participants. Can lymphoma patients actually take chicken essence during the treatment?
Okay, I think it's a good question. The purpose, I guess, a lot of people want to take chicken essence. If I may use Chinese, is 提神, right? I want to feel a bit more energetic. I want to have a bottle of chicken essence before I start the day. From a nutritional perspective, I have no issue with that. However, you need to check with the doctor on whether that chicken essence may interact with any of the drugs that you are currently taking. Okay, so nutritionally, no issue, but medically, do consult your doctor on that. I hope this explains.
Okay, thank you. So the second question will be, so lymphoma patients avoid seafood like prawns, crab, during the treatment?
Seafood itself is a good source of protein. Yes, it contains cholesterol, but a lot of time, seafood is a source of lean protein. And for me, for cancer patients, as long as your seafood is cooked thoroughly. So you make sure your prawns are thoroughly cooked, your fish, etc., thoroughly cooked. Try to avoid things like cockles in char kway teow, because I know cockles only taste nice if they're half cooked in char kway teow. So if you want your char kway teow and you know that that store adds cockles, please say, I don't want cockles. Make sure all your seafood is thoroughly cooked, because seafood absorbs in a lot of bacteria and viruses in the sea. So make sure they are thoroughly cooked, and therefore it can be safe to eat. Yeah.
Okay,
I usually
sure.
don't say no to a lot of foods for my patients. So I let my patients eat a lot of things. Yeah.
So means that like us, the survivor, actually there is no need for us to avoid eating prawn, because there is, in Chinese always say that, oh yeah, 不干净, so that's why people like, oh okay, maybe like my mom always said that, okay, don't eat too much seafood, it's no good.
Yeah, the truth is that, and I also fully understand, is that after cancer, a lot of people want to avoid a lot of things that they feel may worsen their cancer. So so that's why for I guess the older generation is a bit more careful. But what we do as a dietitian is that we practice more evidence based nutrition advice. So if there is no harm to the patient, we will recommend. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So the third question will be, is salmon safe to eat given the report of contamination?
If you are not in a state of neutropenia, so check with your doctor if your white blood cells are low. If you have a neutropenia condition, which is very common for lymphoma patients, then salmon has to be eaten fully cooked. Okay? Not even half cooked with the mentaiko sauce and the blowtorch you burn and half cooked, right? I love that. Aburi. If you do not have such a condition, when you want to eat salmon, I always make sure that you go for sashimi grade salmon. A lot of times, I am not sure in the supermarket how long the fish is there. If you want to eat salmon, go for the sashimi grade, and that would mean going to a reputable Japanese restaurant.
Okay, sure. So the next question is, do you recommend probiotic supplement to improve the gut health during the chemotherapy?
That again is contentious. Some oncologists would say no, because during chemotherapy, your immune system will be low. Introducing other forms of bacteria might complicate your condition. So for probiotics, I would suggest please do check with your oncologist because he or she will know your condition best. For a normal person, I would say go ahead. But for a cancer patient, I always make sure that it is medically safe before you take it. So we always want to be make sure patient safety is number one before we recommend anything. Yeah. So for now, I cannot answer that question.
So for cancer survivors, shouldn't be any problems, right, to have this probiotic supplement?
If your doctor say you don't have neutropenia, you are not immunocompromised, meaning that your immune system is being lowered because of your treatment, and you are in cancer remission, no problem.
Okay, sure. Thank you. And the next one will be, can patient of chemotherapy eat anything to help to boost the red blood cells or platelets? Like Tianji, like sometimes people say that could the Tianji something, to help to boost the blood.
So for red blood cells, we're talking about iron. So iron is the nutrient that can replenish your blood and can make you have higher energy levels. Simply because iron is needed by your red blood cells to provide energy, to provide oxygen to the rest of the body. So foods that are rich in iron mainly come from red meats, so beef and pork, and even some cuts of the duck. Vegetables also do contain iron, so go for the dark green leafy vegetables. So those are also iron containing sources that can help increase your energy level.
Okay, sure. So the next one will be, this is the question that I always heard. What are the best way to wash fruit and vegetables?
That's also always asked. I always get that question: how to wash fruits and vegetables. It seems very intuitive to everyone, but after you go through cancer, you wonder whether what you have done previously is right or wrong. So for me, I personally make sure it is washed clean. I wash it under running tap. So, for example, an apple, right? Because I eat with the skin because I know the skin has a lot of nutrients. I make sure the apples it's thoroughly washed under the running water, just like how you will wash your hands under COVID situation. You make sure it's thoroughly clean, and I will give the apple to my kids to eat. Yeah. So I do not use any vegetable cleaner. Same for my vegetables. For example, the xiao bai cai or the vegetables that sometimes has a bit of soil when I get it from the supermarket, right? I would pluck out all every day. First, I'll wash it under running water to get rid of all the dirt and all the mud and the soil. I will also do a light soaking in a little basin. Just give them a thorough rinse a few times. I think three times is good enough. And then I use it to cook. So please don't soak it for 3 hours, yeah? Because does not mean that the more you soak, the better it is. Because in vegetables, there are a lot of water-soluble vitamins. If you put them in a basin of water, by the time you start cooking it, right, you must just be eating no nutrients left in the vegetables. So yeah, just a quick wash will be sufficient.
But is there any recommended times, when we are washing the apple under the running water, or we put the veggie under the basin? So is there any?
If you want to guide, you know how we wash hands? We have to sing "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star," right? My kids were taught in their school that in order to wash your hands clean, you sing to the song of "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star." So I guess that can be like maybe wash a few apples at the same time. Like one apple, then you waste a lot of water.
Okay, that is a good recommendation. I hope that no one sing Jay Chou song, Okay, sure. So the next one, right? So someone asked that does taking soursop help for cancer patients?
I don't know why particularly soursop, but soursop is very local, very Asian, and I really also like soursop. Um, I don't see why singling out soursop, and I have no problem with that because they are mostly fruits. One thing that I would also like to highlight is that it is unlikely for us to overdose on any type of nutrients if we are eating whole foods. The trouble and the problem comes when you go for supplements. So therefore, from a dietitian and a nutrition perspective, I always recommend if you can eat the real food, eat the real fruits. Don't juice them out. Don't blend them up because you are destroying some of the nutrients. You're also destroying some of the fibers.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So, so I have one last question here, right? Since raw vegetables are recommended as shown in your forum, however, cancer patients also told to not to eat anything raw. How would this contradict be rectified?
Sorry, I didn't mention that just now earlier. I guess you were sorry, probably I confused you all with the plant-based diet. So those are raw salad, vegetable roll that if you have not been told to avoid raw foods, you are okay to consume those. So, for example, cancer survivors who have managed their cancer well in remission, no worries. But if, like what the participant mentioned, that the doctors say for food safety reason, please ensure you only eat cooked vegetables, cooked meat, and everything should be fully cooked. Then your vegetables will have to be cooked. Please don't say that, oh, Verena said can eat raw vegetables. So how? Yeah. So always, like I mentioned, this is a public forum. I don't know each and every of your medical condition. I can only give as much information as I can to help as many people. So if you are managing your cancer well, remission, doctors say all clear, please go ahead and enjoy your food like what I mentioned earlier. If you are still battling and managing, you're undergoing treatment, active treatment, you have neutropenia or you're immunocompromised, please check with your doctor. And if you still don't know or your doctor also don't know, please ask your doctor, refer to a dietitian. I'm saying this because I cannot say for all doctors, but most oncologists will be very happy to refer any diet questions that you have to a dietitian. They do not have time to answer during their clinic session most of the time. So as dietitian, we're happy to take any of your diet, food related questions if you come and see us. That is provided you'll come and see us.
Okay, follow to that questions, right? So if the cooked veggie actually is not just as nutrients as the raw veggie, because I heard it a lot, like our friends said that, you have to eat salad because all the nutrients, you keep all the nutrients.
That's not true. Not all vegetables have poor nutrient profile after cooking. Some vegetables just cannot be eaten raw. Can you imagine eating kangkong raw? Can you imagine eating broccoli raw? No. And the thing is, the effect of cooking actually releases the nutrients that are bound within the vegetable so that your body can digest and absorb the nutrients. So certain vegetables can be eaten raw, certain vegetables cannot. So please don't go and be adventurous and try to eat vegetables that are usually cooked raw. Because sometimes they do, not only are they not very digestible, they are also not very useful for the body.
Okay, sure. Thanks so much, Verena, for all your, Dr. Verena, for all the, the answer that you gave it to us. I feel that, I just go through the personal, consultation with you, this morning. Thanks so much. Yeah, thank you. Then, we will end our Q&A with Dr. Verena. So whoever that actually unanswered questions, right, we will feed it to Dr. Verena, and answer in the chat box later. So thanks again for Dr. Verena.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. Yeah, remember everyone, eating a balanced, varied, and nutrient-dense diet along with an active lifestyle is possibly the best approach to fight cancer. Okay, so this will now be a short 10 minutes break. Yeah, so when you come back, we will kickstart the second half with a fun quiz followed by our last speaker, Miss Dana Chung, who will be showing us more on exercising with lymphoma. Please remember to prepare to fill 500 milliliter water bottle with you so that we can exercise together. Yeah, so see you guys in 10 minutes time. Yeah, so yeah, can go, to take a break, do whatever you want. And I see you back in 10. See you later. Hope you guys had fun. Yeah, we will be showing the list of the winner later. So let us now welcome our last speaker today. So Ms. Dana Chung has been a physiotherapist for 4 years at NUH and has been working with cancer patients for over a year now. As a physiotherapist, she assesses the functional ability of patients and aids in the rehabilitation of patients for optimal physical functioning. Ms. Dana Chung, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Danae, and I'm a physiotherapist at NUH. It is my pleasure to be here with you today. And the aim of this presentation is to give you an overview of the benefits of physical activity and to outline the considerations to make when exercising with lymphoma. I will end off with a workout segment later, which I am inviting you to participate along with me. To participate in the workout, you will need some space to move your hands and your legs. Secondly, a chair which you can sit and stand repeatedly from comfortably. If you require, use a chair with armrests. Lastly, 2 water bottles or any 2 objects that you can comfortably lift. But if you don't have any weights prepared, don't worry because you can still perform the movements together with us. First of all, what is physical activity? As defined by the World Health Organization, physical activity is any bodily movement produced by skeletal muscles that require energy expenditure. Whereas exercise is a form of physical activity that is planned, structured, repetitive, and designed to improve or maintain physical fitness, physical performance, or health. It includes occupational work, activities in the home, activities that you do for fun and recreational, and as well as commuting. This means that physical activity does not necessarily just mean going to the gym. If you have lymphoma or if you are currently undergoing treatment, you may realize that you are unable to do as much physical activity now compared with before you had lymphoma. This is understandable as the disease and the various treatments like chemotherapy and radiotherapy often comes with side effects. Changes may occur in the various systems of your body, affecting your heart, your ability to digest food, your lungs, and etc. These side effects are all legitimate reasons for changes in a person's exercise tolerance. It was reported that fatigue can affect up to 60 to 100% of patients with cancer and is especially present in lymphoma survivors. It is the most commonly diagnosed side effect of cancer and can have a long-term existence. However, doing less physical activity can lead to muscle weakness and fatigue. Some people get into a cycle of doing less activity, deconditioning, where one experiences weakening of muscles and activity tolerance, and they feel more tired, so doing less activity and the cycle repeats. Hence, it is important to break out of this cycle of fatigue. One of the methods is to simply get moving. Much of the current evidence we have points towards exercise and physical activity as a method to manage fatigue and improve energy levels. Exercise may also help one to improve sleep, improve muscle and bone strength, prevent osteoporosis, manage weight, reduce stress, improve mood, and mental health. It can increase overall physical well-being, which can enable your medical team to provide the optimum treatment for you, because often doctors may decide whether or not a patient is suitable for cancer-fighting therapy by their functional status and how strong they are physically. Last but not least, it can also reduce the risk of comorbidities like hypertension, coronary heart disease, and diabetes. Much of the research has been done on people with solid tumor cancers like breast and prostate cancer, but there is growing support for the potential role of physical activity in lowering the progression, mortality, and risk of recurrence of hematological cancers. The question is, how often should I engage in physical activity? How hard should I work? What types of activity? And how long should I engage in them? So I'm here to share with you that the current recommendations on exercise for people with cancer who are otherwise well are the same as for people without cancer. For adults, they should usually aim to be active for at least 150 minutes a week. One way to achieve this recommended amount is to do 30 minutes of moderate physical activity on 5 days of the week. Examples of moderate intensity activities may include walking, vacuuming, gardening, and gentle cycling or swimming. For the activity to be considered as moderate intensity, you should be able to feel somewhat short of breath, but still able to speak in a short sentence. You can also do some strengthening activities 2 or 3 times a week. Examples include getting up from a chair, walking up the stairs, carrying shopping bags, and resistance band training. For strength, 8 to 12 repetitions of 1 to 3 sets as a minimum is recommended. Coordination and balance exercises are recommended twice a week, particularly for people aged 65 or more. And examples may include standing on one leg to balance, or activities like yoga and Tai Chi. And last but not least, stretching should be done on most days of the week to improve flexibility. 30 seconds of a stretch for each muscle group is recommended. The main thing is to move more, sit less, and find a type that you enjoy. That way, you're more likely to stick with it. However, not everyone will be able to fulfill that recommended 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise right away. How much one can exercise and the type that you do also depends on your current health condition, your medical history, whether or not you're currently undergoing treatment for lymphoma, side effects of treatment, baseline fitness, as well as personal preference. If you're undergoing treatment for cancer, it can be safe to engage in physical activity or exercise, because bear in mind that any of these can count towards physical activity. However, chemotherapy and the period just after chemo may cause your blood counts to dip. So do not exert if you have low blood counts, specifically if your hemoglobin count is less than 7, or if your platelet count is less than 10, or if you're feeling any of these: extreme fatigue, dizziness, extreme breathlessness, chest discomfort, fever, diarrhea, or vomiting. It is recommended that you seek medical clearance for exercise. Also, if you have cancer in the bone, or if you have severe pain or discomfort and changing or worsening physical condition, or severe nutritional deficiencies. If you have received RT to the chest region or certain types of chemo drugs, they may cause changes to the heart or the lungs, and that may cause you to feel very severe or more breathless or intolerance to exertion. If so, you may have to take things a lot slower than you usually do and rest more frequently. Some chemo drugs may also cause numbness of your limbs. If so, it will be safer to err on the side of caution and engage in less risky activities like stationary cycling instead of riding a bicycle in the community, for example. You may be advised against doing high-impact activity like running if lymphoma affects your bones and if you have a higher risk of bone fracture. So during or soon after chemo, immunotherapy or stem cell transplant, your immunity may be low and infection is a risk. Hence, it is advisable to avoid crowds or swimming in public pools. If you've received radiotherapy, chlorine can irritate the area of skin that has received radiation, so you may also want to avoid swimming. My recommendation is for you to seek advice from your medical team about the type and intensity of physical activity that is suitable for you, because everyone is really different and your conditions may be very varied as well. But the point is to start small and progress slowly, engage in low impact activity, and avoid inactivity, especially if you are not used to exercising. Get moving. Okay, so enough talk for now, and I hope that everyone is ready to get into some action with me. I'll give everyone some time to prepare the space that you need. If you're sitting in front of the table, just push your chairs back to give yourself some space to stand. I will be doing some over here, but not the full thing, but you can follow me in the video on the screen. Okay, and a last note for your safety. At any point in time during the workout, if you feel very breathless or unwell, stop and rest. Don't rush through the movements. Make sure that they are smooth and controlled. And lastly, if you have some trouble balancing, you may choose to follow along with the seated exercises, but try to stand if that's not an issue for you. Okay, so let's begin. First, starting with 5 neck rolls in each direction. 3, 4, 5, and change direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Backward shoulder rolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, followed by 5 forward rolls. 2, 3, 4, 5. 10 side stretches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, keep going. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 20 counts of marching. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 10 side reaches. 1, 2, 3. So the point of all these is to get your heart rate rising slowly and gradually to prepare for the main workout. Okay, now for the main segment, we'll be doing 30 seconds of work followed by 10 seconds of rest. Got my timer here, beginning in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Try not to use your hands to stand up, but if this is too challenging, you may push up with your hands on your thighs or the armrest of your chair. And make sure to control the movement as you sit back down on the chair. Keep going. Try to do this as quickly but as controlled as you can. 3, 2, 1, rest. Okay, coming up, you'll need your 2 bottles, 1 in each hand. Where's my bottle? And begin. 1, 2. Okay. Just keep doing it as many times as you can until 30 seconds is up. If this is too challenging, you can raise both arms at the same time. Push them high to the ceiling. 3, 2, 1, rest. Coming up, leg lifts, starting on your right leg. In 3, 2, 1, begin. Make sure you don't tilt your body to the side when you do this movement. So you should feel as the reps go along, your buttocks and the side of your thighs may start to get tired. Make sure your feet point straight toward as you do this movement. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, rest. Coming up, left side. 3, 2, 1, begin. Left leg out to the side. Keep your body straight and don't bend to don't bend your body. Very good. I believe that you're putting in your best effort for this. Keep going. Five, four, three, two, one, and rest. Now grab your bottles once again for arm curls. Okay, arms to the side. If it's easy, you may lift both arms up at the same time. Don't rush to the movements. Just make sure you try and lift them up as high as you can go. If there's any pain in your shoulder, you can stop before you feel the pain. Stop where you feel the pain if you have any and lower them. Rest. Tiptoes. If this is easy, you can make it more difficult by rising up on one leg instead of two legs at a time. And begin. Rise up as high as you can go before you slowly lower your heels back to the ground. With all these movements, don't rush, but make sure the quality of movements is good. Ten seconds more. Okay, and rest. Grabbing your bottles. 3, 2, 1, begin. If it's too easy or if it's this manageable, both arms can go at the same time. Halfway there. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Knee curls starting with your right leg. If you're doing this in standing, lift your heel as high up as you can go to your buttocks. If you have ankle weights at home, you may attach them to your ankles to make them more difficult when you do them next time. But if you're using weights, make sure you're able to move your limb over the full range for a set of 10 reps at least. Okay, keep going. Don't swing your leg, but make it a controlled and smooth movement. Three, 2, 1, and rest. Next, changing over to the left leg. 2, 1, and begin. Bear in mind that this is just an example to show how a workout can be structured. And these are just some of the many movements that you can incorporate into your fitness routine. I'm trying to keep it all within this time limit I have with you today, but when you're exercising on your own, feel free to increase the duration or repetitions of each movement as you can tolerate. Okay, rest. For the next movement, grab your bottle. Just one bottle will do, starting with your right hand. And raise your arm up. Stabilize your elbow with your free hand. And lift the bottle straight up to the ceiling. The good thing with using a water-filled bottle is if it's too heavy, you can just drink some of the water or pour it away and then continue. Or if you're not used to exercising, you may start with an empty bottle. Okay, rest. Next up, same movement on the other hand. Okay, begin. You're working this side of your arm. And you may feel this part start to tire or burn at the end. Ten seconds more. Well done. 2, 1, and rest. Okay, we're done with the main segment. It's time to cool down now. Starting with the neck stretch, we'll hold it for 10 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Switching over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stretching one arm across your chest and hug your arm towards your body. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and change to the other side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Reaching across. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Sitting down, reaching your arm down towards the floor. 3, 4, 5, 6. You should feel the back of your thighs and your calves being stretched. Okay, changing sides. For more of a stretch, point your toes up towards you. Okay, and that is the end of my presentation. It's been a pleasure, and I will hand this time now back to the MCs.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dana, for the very informative sharing and such a good workout. Due to the time constraints, we will not having the Q&A session for Ms. Dana. So you can email your questions to Ms. Dana at Dana_Kai_Hui and _Chung at nuhs.edu.sg. So we will share this information in our chat box. So you can have, you can write out and then you share whatever question that you have, and then you can, send it directly to her. Sure. So now it's a very exciting time. We are going to announce the winner for our quiz. Okay, so congratulations to the 10 winners of the quiz earlier. So I think that, that someone will be contacting you, reaching out via the Zoom to get your contact details so that we can send you the prize. And also, so this is another one, a very exciting part of our today's sessions. This year, as a part of the forum, we held a design competition for the artists in our midst of unleash their creativity and design and artworks that depict the Singapore Lymphoma Support Group. So far, we have received 5 wonderful entries and are proud to showcase them here. Here you can see the entry for Novestella, who we know her as Novi Tam. Novi shared that from the list of the cancer color ribbons, the light green is for lymphoma. So therefore, for someone who is being called as lime green warrior is considered as a person who conquer lymphoma. Around it is a lime green ribbon signify it is done as a warrior you conquer lymphoma. Next, we have an entry for Janice Sun, inspired by her own cancer diagnosis. She had created this piece to raise the awareness about the impact of cancer on one's mental health. The red-orange hues represent her lights-out tumor on the PET scan. The abstract patterns on the mind symbolize the mental struggles that she faced during the treatment. Followed by a second entry from Novi Tam. Her design is inspired by this catchy phrase, not all cancer are gray, pink, purple, and black. Lime green matters, which is to raise public awareness that lymphoma exists. The lime green color droplet signifies that lymphoma is a blood cancer too. Here we have a submission from Nicky Low. His inspiration for the artwork depicts a patient in red, which symbolizes lymphoma. The patient is being supported by people in white, which symbolize people who have gone through the chemo and now a blank slate with renewed life. It also symbolizes the caregiver of cancer patients. Lastly, we have an entry by Nonila Juma, for who the shield represents the united support for one another in the group. The color green and violets represent the non-Hodgkin and Hodgkin subtypes, respectively. The other icon, ivy twigs, pale shades in the crest, despite the common experience we have as a patient and survivor in our treatments and recovery. After much deliberations, our judging panel had decided that the 3 winners of the design competition are Janice Sun, Nikilo, and Junila Juma. And the consolation goes to Novi Tam. Thank you for your submission and your sharing your story as well. The organizer will be in touch to get your contact details, and the prize will be delivered to you. And congratulations to all our winners again. So it's come to the end of our session today. I hope you guys actually, been beneficial in this session and have fun, connecting with all our specialty professionals. So here is a gentle reminder again to fill out the feedback form survey after the webinar. You can either scan the QR code, or you will be automatically directed to the feedback form when you leave this webinar. So before we end these sessions, NCs have upcoming event to share. So the first one is Protecting Your Skin, Preventing Skin Cancer on 18 September. Okay, so the second one will be a host of activity for Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. And also the third one is Singapore Geriatric Cancer Symposium in November. So more detail will be available on the NC's website, www.n6.com.sg, or NC's Facebook nearer the date. So yeah, very sadly, we have come to the end of the session, and would like to thank you for your participation and support. And again, we would also like to thank again all our speakers today, Dr. Michelle Boon, our speaker, Ms. Ong Jie Sing, Dr. Verena Tan, Ms. Danny Chung, for giving us a very insightful presentation. And also we would like to thank again the sponsor for this event, Ross and sorry. So the sponsor of this event, Ross and AV, who has made this event possible. We hope you have enjoyed today's webinar, and thank you and have a nice day.